Hello everyone, welcome back to another Wreck This Journal video. My name's Max and today we're doing another Wreck This Journal video. I've got a good mixture of things to do today, not all drawing ones, not all ripping them up ones, because I've noticed I've been doing a lot of ones where you just sort of draw on it, decorate the pages, and not a lot of set it on fire and throw it in your neighbour's garden pages. You may have noticed I've been posting Wreck This Journal on my Instagram. If you don't follow my Instagram, you should. The link's in my profile description thingy. I want to finish this quicker than I'm currently finishing it at the moment. This has been a work in progress for, it feels like years. So doing some on my Instagram should speed the process up a little bit. Without further ado, let us begin the content. I hope you enjoy. We're starting the video with a nice, happy, cheerful one called Draw Fat Lines and Thin, and I decided to make this just a scene full of tiny rainbows and thick Chungus rainbows. Because rainbows are just colourful lines, so it counts. And as you can see, the paper on the left-hand side is weird. That is because that's just normal A4 paper, well, not A4 anymore, but I stuck it in there because, as you would have seen last episode, there was a lot of bleeding through, and it was all Gandalf's fault, and the little blob things are where I've drawn in biro pen on the other side, because it was the poke holes page, and I wanted to make it obvious that there were at one point holes, but in the process I kind of ruined the paper a little bit. So Gandalf is still haunting us with his ruining of the paper, but it's okay because I didn't ruin the page after this one, so hopefully his reign of terror will end. I used acrylics to draw the rainbows, and I didn't really fit the colours in very well. I didn't do the spacing properly, so there was a little bit of overlapping and also a little bit of unevenness between the range of colours. I also gave it a light blue sky and added a few clouds here and there. If you like happy, cheerful things, then make the most of this page while you can, because the rest of the pages that I do today are either a little bit dark or they're just like the paper's black, so it doesn't look very nice. So enjoy it while it lasts. I used brown and peach coloured pencils to shade in the clouds, and I also coloured in the instructions with all the colours of the rainbow to fit it with the theme a little bit more, and I also used a black biro to add outlines to all of the rainbows so that they were a little bit more defined from the background, because they were all sort of blurring into each other. I added some sparkles using Tipp-Ex and it was finished. I quite like this page. It's a very simple idea and it is a little bit messy in places. And on that cheery note, let us transition into a tear out crumple page. So this page, I took a bit of a dark theme. You can't really tell just yet because you can't see the other page, but the other page is behind the page on the left, because that page is actually the Make an Aeroplane page, so that's gonna be, no it's not, it's the Make a Funnel page. Sorry, I've misinformed you. I'm horrible, I know. But I need to remove that anyway, so I did the other half of this page behind that. And as you can see, there is a hand and it's holding what appears to be a red piece of paper that is dripping with a suspicious red liquid. I gave this a black background with watercolour. I did the whole thing in watercolour, and it was quite spoopy looking. I think the yellow fingers contributed to that a lot. I didn't mean to make them yellow, that's just how they ended up. And then I cut it out and I crumpled it up as per the instructions, because otherwise that's sort of cheating. Enjoy me crumpling a piece of paper. Dramatic, wasn't it? So this is going to be the other page after I do the Make a Funnel page, and it's basically a heart. It's a human heart, and it doesn't look very realistic in the end, so if you are a bit squeamish, it's okay, but you can skip ahead if you want to, just in case. I used watercolours for this, and it's basically meant to be symbolising when you're like heartbroken and your heart's been all crumpled up and you're all sad and alone and miserable in the world. And it is quite dark, yes, but I gave it a black background just like the other one, and I did it in watercolours, and I added quite a lot of shading because it wasn't looking as much as I'd like it to, and I also shaded the background this time as well. And the finished effect isn't really that great. It's sort of spoiled by the fact that there's another page in between, but that will eventually be gone and we will be able to experience it properly. Next page is the trace things in your bag or pockets, let the lines overlap. I didn't have anything in my pockets and I don't really have a bag at the moment, so I just used all the stuff that's lying around on my desk, which would probably be the stuff I'd normally have in my bag anyway, like sellotape, a rubber, a couple of scissors, a ruler, pens, things like that. I used a biro pen, and then when I was done I did some wavy lines over all of it in all different directions, and then I went and rounded off all of the corners where the lines intersected to make some neurographic art looking stuff. And I also thickened up some of the lines. This step takes quite a long time, but it's normally the most satisfying part of the process. I really liked all of the different shapes that I made with this. I liked all of the sort of stretched out ovals that the sellotape made, and I liked all of the sort of spiderweb effects that there were on all of the circular parts. I think the combination of having straight lines and curved lines on all the objects I used was pretty cool. I liked the effect that that made. The whole point of neurographic art is that it's meant to look a little bit like the sort of nerves that are in your brain for some reason. I don't know why that's a desired aesthetic, but there you go, and it sort of disguises the fact that there were ever traced things in the first place, but you can still see them if you know they're there and you look carefully. I coloured the left half of the page in different shades of red, and then the right half was different shades of white and grey. For some reason the combination of red and grey is just very satisfying for me. And here is the finished result. I think it looks rather cool. It's a little bit shiny, that's because I've put tape on it. The following clip is very sad and may have a negative effect on your mood. Viewer discretion is advised. As you just saw, the instructions on that page were lose this page, throw it out, accept the loss, and I did just that. It took me a few weeks, but I did eventually come to terms with the fact that there is no longer a page 154 in my book. And so on page 153, I painted a gravestone to memorialise the life and the existence of page 154. I used watercolour and I only needed about 3 colours, so I didn't really do any shading, but I did use pencils afterwards to add shading. I gave it a black sky for the background to make it extra depressing and sad. Page 154 was a good boy and I miss him very much. He was very good at his job as a page. He did very well existing at that precise spot in the book for months on end, but now his time has come and we must let it go. Once the watercolours were dry, I got out my pencils and added all the shading and the details. For the grass, I did these just little line patterns. They're not very realistic to grass, but it's alright. I'm pretty sure that I can deal with that. I used multiple different colours of green for this so that it looks nice and varied. Some of the greens were a little too vibrant, like this one here. It upset me a little. I also did some dark grey shading on the gravestone and also in the sky. Here is the finished page. It was quite a quick one because sadly it has no partner. Welcome to the Drag Your Journal Along the Floor show.
and the instructions on that page was drag your journal this page face down along a long hallway, or something of the like. I don't own a long hallway, so I just rubbed it around on the floor around my hallway area, which just so happens to be near Dan's food bowl, which is why he featured in that extract. Now, as you can see, this is not my journal. I did this on a separate piece of paper because that page is black. So this is Jaden and Jake, and I don't really know what the story is here, but Jake is dragging Jaden along the floor. We're just going to say that maybe they were going somewhere. Maybe the four boys wanted to have a nice family outing somewhere, and Jaden was being difficult, as only Jaden can. And Jake was he just had enough of it. He'd had enough of Jaden being all me all the time, and so he just grabbed him because he was determined to have the perfect family day out. And he was not going to let his stroppy brother-in-law get in the way. So he grabbed him by the ankles and he dragged him along a long hallway. This drawing did not take very long at all. The long part was actually cutting it out and getting in between all the hair and all the face, and then getting out my cutting mat and my little knife thing. But I do enjoy this picture. It's quite funny and humorous, and I like the story behind it, which I just came up with seconds ago. Classic Jaden ruining everyone's day and making people miserable. That's right, Jake, you grab him, you drag him along that floor. Anyway, I Mod Podged them into the book, and in doing so I managed to get absolutely loads all over the pages, so I then just gave the whole thing a coat of Mod Podge so it didn't look all patchy and uneven. The shoes of Jaden's shoes, they bled a little bit, and it's shiny, I know, because it's got tape on it, but the shine is just a little too much on this one. Sorry for the poor view. Anyway, thank you for watching the video.